replay Quinn. I'm gonna first just times 8 it through your point of view, and just see if there's anything that you're not seeing or something. But pretty much PvZ and Entombed Valley. I mean, actually times 4 is a lot easier to see. So times 4 in Entombed Valley. Nice. Going cross. Are you trying to go Nexus first, or just stop any hatchery first? I want to know what you're thinking for going cross first. Because be curious on that timing. And the fact that you're trying to cannon already, that's a little bit risky, because your main... What are you doing? You've got your gas first, too. You're going... Oh, gateways in front. So you're basically doing a gateway expansion, but faking it as if you were going for the forge expansion. Okay, so I guess that's... Yeah, there's good thinking to that. So that's alright so far. Let's see... Definitely spam more. The Zerg... Oh, I'm also off your camera. Whoops. Hit my mouse. Alright, so you're dancing around. It's fine. You don't care if that's there because you've got the probe, so that's fine so far. Money is okay. Robo. Let's see what this build is that you're doing, because this is skeptical, especially getting that Robo before your next. It looks like you're about to expand with that Robo there. If you're just trying to go for Scout, you should definitely just be going for Hallucination. Hallucination would be a lot more beneficial and a lot cheaper. But your Nexus is now going down at like a 2-gate expansion timing. You have a Robo, so you go... Alright, he found your pylon too, so that's dead and back there. I think you're investing too much in trying to win with trickery. Right off the bat. Your wall at the front is very incomplete. Any kind of Ling Cheese would destroy you right now, just so you know. So, I'm really hoping you're going to be adding something on to there. Observer should be scouting to your opponent. Your probe count, what's your probe count looking at right now? You have 26 probes. It's also a little low. You're no problems getting supply block though, that's fine. But now you've got 2 gates and a Robo. What do you... You seem to have a... I'm trying to see what your plan is going to be. That is a force field you cannot afford to do, to be honest. You need that, those force fields, because you would die to a lot of stuff right now. And now we're having Lings coming in. And now's when you need that force field would have been very nice to have. So your forge is moving in, you're attacking. He can't really engage there. Okay, it's another 100 energy gone for sentries. And that's the cost of actually a free scout right now. But you have your observer in his base. You should definitely be looking at that right now. Your gases are actually really cutting into your mineral income right now. Guardian Shield does not affect... Okay, Guardian Shield does not affect Lings. It only affects a range attacks coming in. So Roaches, they're good for. But, okay, now you're checking. You see the Baneling nest. I really want to know what's been going through your mind with the Banelings. Now you're starting to get supply block Colossi. Okay, but you have the pylons coming in anyway. Third base. Okay, I'm seeing... Let's go up to times 4, because I'm seeing a lot of just lack of a plan. You're doing a really good push. Like, okay, this push that you're doing right now that I'm seeing, this Sentry, Stalker, Immortal main push, this is actually a very, very good push that you can do, but I can tell you right now there's a much better way to go about doing this. If you want to do it off of the 1-gate expand like you're planning right now, what you could do is go for the Robo after the 1-gate expand. Like, you get the Nexus down and everything. And then you can start going for your normal 3 gates after that. Like that builder that I told you before, the 1-gate expand, where you go for the gate, Cyber, Nexus, and you churn out those sentries and everything. And those are your only sentries. After that, you put down a few more gateways, your Robo. You pump out Observer for scouting, 2 more Immortals, and you're producing Stalkers, and then you can push. If you want to go for that, that would definitely be a smart move. You can maybe add in the +1 to it as well. You could also do off of the Forge Fast Expander, where you could have either the +1/+1, or even just the +1 attack, and that might even be sooner. Actually, you're probably best to do it with the +1/+1, because then you just have the Stalkers. You wouldn't need to invest in Twilight Council, and you can get out probably also 2 Immortals, and you can push forward with attack, and it can be quite strong. You'll be able to kill off creep tumors and everything move in, deal damage. And let's see, there's a really good game they go over. It's Grubby versus Rhett Tal'Darim Altar Home Story Cup. If you could track down that, that is the exact push that's happening right here. I would help you out with that too, and really actually breaking down what that build is if you want to do this push, because I tell you right now, it's a much better way to do it than the way you're doing. But let's move on and go into this thing some more. Alright, so let's see what you're doing next. You're going for Colossi now, and honestly, the going for the Colossi is actually hurting this direct push. Okay, Garden Shield is there, it's going to be fine, you're moving in. Where are your sentries? 3 sentries are there, but you could have definitely... Okay, with the push, and the way you're handling it here, let's break it down how this push should be executed. Okay, here we are. This is the start of it. Let's see. Actually, no. First, what do you know? That's the wrong person. Okay, so what do you know? You've got Vision of the Spire. I definitely hope you clicked on this, then see the song that was a Spire, because that is indeed the Spire. You see Lair, Spire, Baneling Nest, Evo Chamber, and you see Double Gas. You're seeing Double Gas, you know about 2 bases, and you know about all 4 gases right off the bat. This should say to you, Ling Bling Muta. You should also be a lot more active as Observer, because he could have this base, and he does. So this is kind of key information, because this could actually really impact your angle of attack. Because if you knew about this base, what you could do is move in over here, kill off the base, force field. These are still alive. You kill the 3rd and you retreat, but you have to retreat carefully with this attack, because these guys explode and you're in a very tough spot. But what you can do is just force field, move along over here, and move up the map and check this. If you're really, really scared, what you can do is move your Observer over to here, somewhere in the central area, and then retreat along this back pathway where you have these chokes that benefit you and your sentries, and you can move that into your base. Okay, but the big thing is that you're pushing in a time where you're vulnerable and you don't even have your entire army with you. You're going for Colossi. Here's your really, really, really important unit. You're that one that you're kind of playing for. This is your whole strategy, is bent on going for the Colossi, and yet you're pushing without it. So this is a nice push, but if you're going to do it, commit to that and not trying to do a big thing right after it. But let's go ahead and actually take this battle itself. So you're moving in, you're going here, you got everything there, you're going to start pushing it. Alright, let's slow it down to this is just on normal. You Guardian Shield, you push up. Okay, right here. Let's take a look at your sentries. You've got 2 sentries here with 100 and... so that means 3 force fields. But let's go back to what you know. Because here's the question is, do you actually need this Guardian Shield? Because to be honest, you see nothing that tells you you should have it. You have not seen any Roachwarren. You have your Observer in here. You see the Spire. You see the gases. You see the Baneling Nest. And 1 Evo Chamber. 1 Evo Chamber, I guess, is generally actually used for Roaches. It gets his missile attack and all that. But you see no Roachwarren. This sentry is literally only using its energy for its Guardian Shield to block Spinecrawler damage. While if you actually had the 5 force fields that you would have if you didn't spend the 75... Actually, is it? Okay, no, it actually only gives you 1 more force field. Yes, because that's the way the math works out, because it's not quite 150. What you could have done, force field... let's see, you know what? You can go back a split second, and you're going to see that you have an opportunity to literally get... Oh my god, this is fine. I'm trying to get to 1150 exactly, but it's being annoying. So we're going to move in 1150. Okay, you're pressing up. This is about when you're about to throw down the Guardian Shield. Do you do it before or after you see the Lings? You pop up, you do it before you see the Lings. Alright, so that's unfortunate, but the thing is you should realize it's not going to be Lings anyway. So right now, you should, now the Guardian Shield up, you should be going force field, force field, force field. when you see these guys there, especially right now when you see those links, you should especially be thinking, okay, force field, force field, force field. 3 force field, you lock in, let's see, how many of these, everything? Yeah, you get to have 7 Banes, which can decimate pretty much all of your forces here, or at the very least make it so that the links will just destroy you, and you get to completely isolate 23 links. His entirety of his army. 23 lings, 7 banes, and then he's got 3 queens, and he's getting out some more lings. That's irrelevant. The whole point is you crush this army, and then you win, because you warp in 1 or 2 or 3 more sentries over here, force field the ramp, kill out the natural, retreat, and you're in an amazing spot. So we have that there that we can take a look at, but let's go ahead and now watch what exactly happens. You're moving in, and you do something smart in a second. You start looking for an opening. You're dancing around, you're trying to find the optimal mission, which is great for thinking. Thinking wise, that's literally the best you can do, but okay, right there. The banelings are about to come in. Force field, force field, force field here. And you're fine. The Bane's trying to move on the right, 1 more force field to lock them out. They move on the left, 1 more force field here to lock them out. You can literally use this spine crawler as a force field. So now you're moving in, you're unfortunately losing your most important unit in the entirety of here. Once again, Guardian Shield does not affect those links. That's when Force Field is your best friend right now in the situation. So now you're starting to do the lockout force fields, and that's really good. The problem is you're missing out on the really good meaty things to kill off. And unfortunately he gets great baneling hits, and that sucks, and now you're energy-less. So you're moving here. You should also be kiting back. When you're only going against pure links and you have no zealots or anything, there's no reason not to kite. Your 1 zealot you have, you're about to die. But you just right-click attack move, and you keep going back and moving in. What you can also do is then just warp in full round of zealots on the high ground. But let's take a look at your money too. You've got a whole lot. I mean, he's got even more, but you've got 1250, 350, and that's an awesome amount. If you look at your gateways, you literally only have 2 gates. Why are you only using 2 gates and a robo to do a push at 12 minutes? You could literally, if you had done this with just 3 more gateways already finished, then that'd be fine. If you had waited for even these 2 gateways to be finished and moved in, and then because you have a lot better opportunity to reinforce. But this is like a feint attack. It's a half attack. This is the kind of force you move out, you show threat, and then you pull back. If you had just done this, taken the watchtower, and then pulled back, that would have worked just fine. If you had risked it, because you see there's no creep here, you could actually risk it, move up here, poke up, and then when you're right here and you showed threat and everything, he built those links, you just do 3 force fields on this thing, and then you just retreat. And you've automatically done damage. You don't have to actually attack to do damage against Zerg. Against Terran, it's a different story. But against Zerg, any attack where you force them to make units instead of drones is a win for you. So let's see what you do next. And remember, you can continue popping up questions because I'm still available. Anytime I say something you don't quite get or something, just ask questions. Or if you want more information about something, if you want me to go any further, tell me no too. Alright, but now we're moving in. Your Colossus is in play to this now, and that's going to be good. Alright, now we're back to real time. I was still on normal before, but now you've been forced to pull drones, and that's great. I like that you're target firing those drones too. Those are, okay, not doing that anymore. But still, notice that you're still doing a lot of damage. So this attack is still pretty much successful. The problem is that he's going for mutas, and he's about to clean you up with mutas. I'm also not sure why you warped in on that low ground. Now we're speeding up a little bit. You're seeing a lot of blood right now, and now you're seeing the mutas, and that's unfortunate. Pull back the Colossus. You should not be warping in down there too, because you're about to you can lose all those units you just warped in. But to be honest, I'm looking at this right now. Okay, you're getting a 4th base. This situation is not exactly a good time to get a 4th base. There are some there's a lot of things that you can think of in this scenario. When you're at 14.5 minutes of the game, you just did a push, you killed a lot of drones, so you did great economic damage. You should know he's on the 3rd base right now, but let's, for the sake of this next point that I'm going to make, is that you have that 3rd base visible. So you know he's on 3 base, you just saw the mutas, you saw the Spire before, you see no Roachworn, so you know for a fact he's going for lings, blings, mutas. Simple. 3 base, you did damage. How do you want to respond to this is not to make yourself more vulnerable and spread out. Lings and mutas are incredibly mobile. So if you're going to spread yourself out more, you give him an opportunity to come back from the damage that you just did to him. You know for a fact you're in a good position. So what you can do instead is start turtling. You know he's going to push in, you know he's going to try and equalize damage, or do something weird like double expand to get back his economy. So your response, 4 cannons on the outside of your bases. You get up to +2, +3 attack. You can get with your Blink Stalkers some high Templar if you want, but at this point you have the Colossi, so you don't quite need those. You can literally go mass Blink Stalkers, a few Zealots, and couple Sentries if you can spare the gas, and then Colossi. You do that, and you have the recipe to kill any army that he's going to be able to make. If he switches to something else, your Blink Stalkers and Colossi will be destroying him because he can't invest in Infestors. If you want, you can then just strictly think Ling, Blink, Muta, because anything else you guys goes over weaker. Blink Stalkers, Blink back, spread in case of Baneling bombs, and you won't take that much damage. The Colossi will rip apart those Lings, so you can pretty much consider them done because you can blink back your Stalkers and keep them alive. You can even Force Field to keep them alive, or you just have Zealots in the front and they'll just tank and kill off the Lings really efficiently along with the Colossus. The Stalkers answer the Mutas, and you've wrecked him. So, looking at your point of view in this game, go back to that, we've got your third base not being utilized quite yet, but Pylon here, Pylon here, gateway. You can either have a full wall here or one Zealot wide choke, doesn't matter. These rocks should be gone. You go cannon, and this base is pretty much okay. Here you go for Pylon, and because you can kind of come up this top ramp, you're going to need like cannon, but that's not too big of a deal. Maybe cannon here if you want to be really safe. But that pretty much covers this entire area. And moving down here, you can go for the same thing that you did over here. Just Pylon, cannon. If you really want to be paranoid, you can go for another cannon or two. Just be safe because you know you're already in a good lead and you've got a lot of money. So don't be afraid to throw down 10 cannons right now because that's literally fine. You got the Extended Thermal Lance and your forges here. Start getting your upgrades. The Twilight Council should be getting your blink, and you should be getting the +1 over here. If you do that, you can then just get up to even something like 170 food, and you push out with a large force, and assuming he doesn't get the most perfect engagement ever against you, you should be able to get the game. So let's see how you're going to be handling this from here. We're on ×2. Moving along, we've got this stuff. You can see that the mutas are coming in, and the problem is your anti-air. This is really when you need cannons and you need more gateways. Because if you were doing, you could honestly get away with doing exactly what you're doing if you had 5 more gateways. Because then you just have all those stalkers. But now you're getting picked apart, and honestly, can you imagine how much better you'd be off if these rocks just weren't here? Those probes would already be over here and in the safe zone with your army. These stalkers, because they're blinkless, could just walk over here and kill these mutas. So in this exact position, the mutas would be right here by this time. Your stalkers would be right here. You'd be able to attack those mutas, or at the very least force them back, keeping an additional, 3, 4, 5 probes alive. And that is a huge benefit in terms of defense of this position. So, there we go. So now let's just continue watching you. And now you're starting to get picked apart because the fact that you don't have gateways, pretty much. Because your probe count right now is at 57. Look at that. You have a ton more than the Zerg, too, which is just because we know we have this excess information. But all you need, cannons. That's literally it right now. Cannons, and you would be fine even with the low gateway count. That's just obnoxious, the fact that you can't reach those. That's just really obnoxious. Now you can see how you're moving in, and he's starting to deal damage and get back into this game. I do not like that transfer. You are transferring how much of your economy right now? 15 probes. You can still get 2 more guys in this gas geyser, and it's got a lot of gas left. Plus, these mineral fields still have a fair amount. Let's see. 200, I can count the 500, 950 or so. Now you've got 1250, 1450, This is 1500, 1600. Yeah, you have 1900 minerals still left here. So to be honest, you could do this transfer, but leave 2 or 3 probes mining these minerals, and then have 3 guys in this gas. So just need keep 2 guys in this gas, because literally those 3 or 4, 1, 2, 5 probes, whatever you leave here, is going to be mining at perfect efficiency of about 40 minerals or so a minute for a fair amount of time to come, and that will give you you have 3 guys there. That's an extra 120 minerals per minute. And when you're at an income right now of 1100, you could literally, with 3 probes there, 1220. Big difference. So now you're also very oversaturated in your natural, so you could also bring that to your third too, once you get a few cannons there to help you defend. You're fixing your gas geysers, good. It's always a great thing to check on. It looks like you're sending guys back into your main. Ah, so I didn't even need to make that point, because you just fixed it yourself. Good job. Very good job. So now you're getting blink. Good, good, good. So you're doing the right stuff. A lot of the things that I'm talking about that you can fix, you're doing. But if you just did it slightly sooner, you'd be so much better off. But really, do not be afraid of cannons. That's what I'm seriously noticing that you're doing, is that, oh god, now you have a ton of lings, you get caught off guard, you don't have blink yet, there's no Colossus, and this is really unfortunate that he's getting all these kills, and now he's going to stream in those Banes. Oh, that's frustrating. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not a good feeling. And now you're starting to add the gateways. Your money is quite high because your income and everything is good. That's good hand speed to get all those guys down. But you're moving down here. Colossus is not going to go well. Yeah. And we can consider this pretty much game, I think. He's got a very mobile army. Yeah, we're going to times 8 now. We're looking around. You're moving around. Yeah. So yeah, we're pushing around here. We can see you're getting mass expansions. It's a nice move, but this is pretty much done. You weren't able to really kill that much of his army, and he's just wrecking through all of your main tech and your production capabilities. Your CR money is getting very, very high at the moment, but it's nice to see you continue trying to fight. It's always good to never give up, never surrender and everything, because this is like the makings of a comeback. There's still some things going on, but I would say the most important thing, if you were able to fix one thing, would be add gateways. If you just added 5 more gateways, 4 more gateways around the 10-minute mark, this game probably would have been won with that first push. It would have, if you hadn't won that first push, it would have helped you out with defending against the mutas, with being able to warp ins. Add in the cannons, and this game situation, if it ever happens again, and you will never lose it. So there you have a couple main things. If you have any other questions, right now is the time to pop in. I'll give you like 5-10 seconds or so before the for the stream to actually get to catch up to you. But that was a really good game to learn from. That's the main thing that I really want to point out, is even though that's a tough and unfortunate loss, that is a great game to learn from. You had a couple different moments. It was a long thing. There were just production. It's just production. Because your economy was pretty solid. Even with that kind of awkward build opener at the start, you were still out macroing him, and you showed the intention of expanding. I mean, seriously, at the end of the game, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases up and running, and you'd already killed a couple. That's really, really good. That shows a great macro tendency. So I just want to even just thank you for doing that, because macro is the best thing ever. And you show that that's your strength, is expanding into also, which is honestly what a lot of people really are bad with when they first start the game and all of that. So all you have to do is just refine the macro. Just refine the macro, and you're good. But you're not saying anything in Skype or the stream chat or going for anything else inside the SE2 itself, so I'm thinking this might be it. Confirmation on that. Somewhere. Okay. I gotta just show this to everybody. You macroing kills you usually. Macroing and keeping the balance between macroing and staying safe is one of the most difficult things in the entire game, and you're really starting to see that. But let's go into the beginning of this replay for this, because that's when it's going to definitely show your worries about macro and staying safe. So at the beginning of the game, let's see, you're here. We're going to times 8 now, and you're way behind usually. Okay. Usually is a good tendency to think about, but you cannot think like that for that applies to literally every single game. You have to take every single game individually. Once you get trends over 5 or more games in the same matchup and same situation, that's when you can say, okay, there's really something here that I have to really analyze closely and tightly to see what's going on. But right here, let's take a look at your worry moments. Because to be honest, you don't get that many worry moments at the beginning. You're moving here, you're scouting, you're the one being aggressive, you're doing a great scouting, you've got that pylon running around, you force drones to come off, you see this natural expansion, but let's see right here, 7:30 into the game is a time where you can sometimes get hit awkwardly because your nexus just finished, and you're very open. If you're talking about macroing safely, there is a key thing that you're missing for being safe, and that is the front part of this wall. The fact that you built this gateway and these 2 pylons, good, you built them, but change where you build them. If you can get that gateway here and that pylon here, fill this hole with 1 zealot, guess what? You're safe against lings. You're absolutely safe against lings. So there you have yourself covered for 7.5 minutes. Let's move on for some other things that we can try to see and point out for weaknesses and timings and all that stuff. But let's say you move out. Okay, you just got hit by lings. You spent, I remember here, you spent 2 force fields here. What if you just had that wall, 1 zealot, and then your range units in the back, no amount of lings are going to push in. If they do, force field and the ramp is closed. So he won't be able to win there either, and all of a sudden you save yourself 100 sentry energy. Add that onto the guardian shield that you spent down there, and all of a sudden your 2 sentries have max energy, and that's 8 forces as opposed to the 5 that you would have had in that first attack. And then even your small force of 2 gateways could do even more damage than you had before. So there we have another aspect of safety. And let's see also, another aspect. You have that 1 zealot wide choke here, and you have your range units back there. Well, what if then you just put your range units here, started killing off this destructible rocks, and started prepping for a 3rd while you attack? You've got your observer. You see this, you see the lair, and you see the baneling nest, and you should be able to see the spire get thrown down in a second or 2. You're pushing out, you're doing all that good stuff. Let's see when the spire's going to pop, because you saw that spire. Unless it's slightly over. No, the spire's coming down soon. And there it is. Okay, so now you see the spire. You just got to keep an eye on the observer. So now for the and now when it comes to going for your safetyness, well, let's see. You're pushing right now at a perfect time. This is literally the best time you can push against mutas, because of the fact that he's now going to try and save up for those mutas. You see that spire, you attack. Zerg is going to be thinking this. I want Spire Tech. My goal for the mid-game is to get mutas. Mutas are expensive, costly, and they're not the best in direct army engagements. So let's see what you can exploit in that. The fact that he has to save hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of minerals and gas to get that first flow of mutas into gameplay. You can halt that by doing exactly what you're doing. This push is perfect for dealing with that, because all of a sudden he's being forced to, hey, look at that, all these banes cutting into his gas, and you're going to be able to do a lot of damage. So you didn't see the spire? You gotta see the spire. But this is something you can look forward to. This is literally one of the most important things in the entirety of games, across the entire thing, especially if you want to get into the higher parts, the higher leagues in SE2, is to utilize this. Okay, so this is what you were thinking. Okay, that's great. This is actually perfect. No, thank you. So now I can talk about your reaction to what you're seeing. So let's see. We've already established the fact that you can do a lot of damage by pushing against the Spire and all that stuff, and you know he has to spend... actually, another aspect of that is save money and go for the high minerals and high gas and high supply cap. is the fact that you then can't have much of an army. So then you can, if you see spines and all that, that's great. You've got you got lings to kill and banelings to kill. Zealots will be great for that, but force fields and stalkers and immortals are actually going to be your best forces against this army composition, because the force fields will prevent those banelings from going down. Immortals and stalkers do great against the spine crawler. You can even use the immortals to focus down the spine crawlers there, dealing those damage, and then you have the force fields to keep yourself alive and make sure the banelings can't connect. But with you thinking banelings, you're moving in, you're attacking, you've got those good units there. You missed your opportunity to kind of get those couple forces there that were great. But if you're thinking banelings, this is what I think is your reaction to the Banes. You're throwing down those two gateways, and your Colossi are automatically good against banelings. But why not throw down... Oh, look at this. This is the key part. Okay, your money is low here. You're getting tricked into thinking your macro is really solid right now. You've got, let's see, 49 probes at almost 12 minutes in. You should have a lot more, like 60, 65 or so at pretty much minimum. But let's see, moving around from there, you'd be having an income that would be higher, probably more like 1,600 or something. The blink would help. Let's see when you get blink.
Upgrade complete. Fall back to the shadows. We cannot hold. Research complete.
You didn't have... Okay, here's the thing. Your macro issues are stemming... Too much tech is what you thought. Alright. But you're not teching too much. In fact, you're teching pretty well. The issue is the pace at which you're teching and the first 6 minutes of the game. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Your first 6 minutes of the game. We have you here. Nexus is being thrown down at 5.5 minutes. So we can pretty much consider this a 1-gate expand. But moving on... Let's watch your workers versus his workers. He's at 27. You should be ahead of Zerg at this point. And now it should be starting getting even. You're at 25 probes for a very long time. Okay. Your natural finish is 7 minutes and 20 seconds, and you've got 27 probes. So you should have literally been producing probes the entire time from this main nexus. Let's see. Let's do the math. I'm actually quickly going to pull out a calculator and see if I can literally show you guys exactly how this works. Calculator. Okay. Let's give you a real surface. Here is the calculator. You've got 17 seconds per build time on the probe. You have to double checking that. We have 17 seconds, which means, okay, wait, where's clear? 60 divided by 17 equals 3.5. That's 3.5 probes a minute. We're at 7 minutes. So let's times this by 7, which means 24.7 probes. So here's the thing. You look at this, your probe production, it should also be plus 6 because of the starting 6. Okay, there we go. You have 30.7 probes. And that's perfect probe production without chrono boost and without supply blocks off of one nexus for 7 minutes. So let's go to exactly 7 minutes in the replay. Exactly 7 minutes in the replay, you have 25 probes. So you're missing out on 5.7 probes right now to be as meticulous with the math as you possibly can be without going into the crazy decimals and all that. But let's go into another aspect, and that's chrono boost. Chrono boost takes 12, makes a probe take about 11 seconds, 12 seconds to produce. Let's just say 12 seconds, just so it's a bigger number and we have less room for error. So we've got 60 divided by 12.5 is, wait, no, that's wrong. I'm not doing it right. It's what am I doing? 60 divided by 12.5, yeah, is 4.8. There we go. 4.8 times 7. So that's 33.6 probes if you have perfect chrono boost, but you don't get that much energy. So let's just say That mean 39.6 probes would be alive at that point in the game. That's completely unrealistic. So we'll just take out some random amount for the energy, and that would mean you should be having, we'll say, 32 probes, and that seems pretty reasonable. 32 probes at 7 minutes. If you're being perfect, you're at 25. Then we start getting into the issues of the fact that this Nexus is late. If you went for a Forge Fast Expand, we'll say it's done 5 minutes, whether that's right or not doesn't matter. The whole point is then you'd have additional 6 probes at that point, which means you would be at what? You could literally be at 40, 45 probes, maybe even you probably have 40, 45 probes at 7 minutes if you were having that Forge Fast Expand opener, and that would be almost twice the amount of probes that you have at your 7 minutes in this game. That was a lot of math. I hope that actually sunk in the points, but that is the root of your macro issues. And that's how important that probe reduction is at the start. So if you can just work on getting those probes out faster, continuously, and with Chrono Boost, then all of a sudden, your issues at what, at 12 minutes where you were at low money, but you only had 2 gates and a robo, all of a sudden, you'd be having 2,000 minerals at that point, maybe even more if you just had that tiny bit you could produce off of. So you could then be on 6 gates a robo and doing all that stuff. 6 gates in robo production, and then that push that you did at 10, 11, 12 minutes, wherever that was, could literally be thousands of resources worth larger. Macro issues solved for the first 15 minutes. After that, you've got expansions and everything, but as far as it goes, that's the most important part of your gameplay. Any more questions on that? Because that was a pretty long answer as to why that's going in, but I thought the math would be a nice touch for that. And remember also, guys, if you're like saying, oh no, my math is wrong, also keep in mind like the numbers I was trying to alter and keep track in my head of also the fact that you start out with 6 probes. So that might be if you're saying like, oh, it's less than it should be or it's more than it should be, or you're thinking that's not that big a difference, remember those 6 starting probes get added onto the math that I was doing. Okay. It's pretty good for that. Thoughts? Anybody? You get it? Perfect. Just so that people make sure I'm not lying. Quinn, I get it. Let's make it even clearer. I get it. Alright, so any last questions? Because I think that's a pretty good hammering to death of this replay. Yes. Thanks, Duza. Very nice contribution. Subtle. Okay. But yeah, Quinn, if that's about it, I just have really low minerals and I feel like I need to build an army rather than probes. Once again, this goes back to that start. You should really get in the habit of just constantly producing probes, like continuously producing probes, and if you die, that's actually good. It's good if you die because you overprobed. Because then you can start getting into thinking, oh, well, I guess I need to kind of stop producing probes here and go more for warp gates. Oh, well, my money started to get high earlier. Maybe I should be adding gateways on like 2 at a time instead of just going for, let's add on 6 gates all at the same time. And I'll be able to slowly trickle out more units and keep my money even lower. And also pylons. Remember pylons too. That's a big part of not having enough is actually because you get supply blocked, and then your money gets really high. And you're like, oh, well, time to add on gateways. When in fact, if you had kept producing off of the fewer gateways and producing probes, but you just stopped getting supply blocked, you would actually have enough to defend some of those early attacks. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good for that. I think I might just call it there, even if there's more questions, because that's a whole lot to think about. Any objection to that? Hope there's no objection to that. Is there an objection? I'm I'm not seeing anything, so I guess there's no objection to that. And I know my mic's not muted because I'm staring at my XSplit saying that there is sound coming in. No, sir. Okay, good. Very good. So, thank you very much. Yes. So, I don't know if anybody else has questions like this or issues or replays that they want analyzed, but I can do that too if you guys want. You can email me or talk to me on the stream. SanderFear@gmail.com. Thank you all very, very much.